Well, hello everybody and welcome to CLAldridgeArt. I am Christine Aldridge. I am an artist and you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, and please, if you like what you see here, subscribe to my channel and ring the bell so that you always get notifications. Um, Welcome to a new video, and this is a voiceover. And I am taking the new Arteza Real Brush Pens, that the 96 set that I received as a Christmas gift, for a little test run here, all on their own. I am making a card. I'm not going to tell you what it is until until we get to see what it is. But I did want you to see how they work, and especially how they work with water and without. And I have to tell you that I'm having such a fun time doing this particular video. Uh-oh, it looks like I left the autofocus on. I apologize for that. Obviously, this is a little creature of some kind. We'll get to see what it is. How is everybody today? I was right in the process of making this particular video when my doorbell rang yesterday, and so I do have a new video to bring you later on today. Well, or at least I'll film it later on today and see how that goes. Uh-oh, what are we making here? I do have to say that the Arteza pens are very cool. It is a bit of a learning curve. You can just use them straight up. This is watercolor paper. It's actually Vision's watercolor paper that I saw first over on Dee Dee Willingham's channel. I do have a flatbed paper cutter, and so I cut it down to, it's an 11 by, maybe it's a 12, I want to say it's an 11 by 14 sheet of paper. And then I cut it in half, cut those pieces in half, and then cut those pieces in half, and got this exact size. And I will mount it on a card in the very last bit of the frame, so that you can see what it looks like. I do apologize that my hair keeps getting in the shot. You can see how gray it's getting. But what I'm doing here is I'm applying a layer of water first, and I found that if I want to go with a very subtle color, that if you put a little water on it first and then let that water soak in, excuse me, before you use the pen on it, you get a much more muted color. Now, this particular pen I have in my hand right now is Ginger. It is the same color that I used to color the face, and I'm just putting a little underlayment on the fur on the back of this guy. And in case you haven't got it yet, I am doing a little hedgehog. Now, I cannot take credit for this hedgehog. I saw him over on Ellen Crimi-Art, or Ellen Crimi-Trent art. I want to give her credit. This is her hedgehog. I did it. I'm trying to do it just like she did hers. So I can't say that this is an original design, but I, like all of you, I like to do little tutorials, and Ellen is a really good teacher, and one that I have been watching a lot of lately. So shout out to, and I don't know her, I've never met her. I just like her channel. She also apparently has an acrylic art channel, and then she's also going to do a drawing channel, I heard her say, after the first of the year. So I'm just drawing a little fur, making his back a little bit spiky with this lightest shade. And this really is an underlayment. And on his belly, which you can't really see very defined yet, I used the light peach, which is that one that's sitting up out of the, it's sitting up next to the box right now. The thing that's the pen that's not the brushes. Anyway, these are very cool. I like these. Like I say, I'm learning to use them. I used them for a couple of other cards last night and really like them. So, Shara, thank you so much for this thoughtful gift because I just love them. I really do. I just love them. Now, of course, he is going to be a Christmas. He's going on a Christmas card. As a matter of fact, this video is the only action I have on him because I forgot to keep a photograph before I popped him in an envelope and sent him out to one of my subscribers who has been so kind to me this past year. So he's already gone out the door as a Christmas card. And so anyway, I'm trying to figure out what colors I've got, and I obviously have the wrong one. So, yeah, I found the right one. I think I'm going for chocolate next as a second layer of hair or spikes. Because, of course, Hedgie has got all those spikes on his back. So, and I'm building up. I'm building up from dark or from, an underlayment, and then I'm building up in darker colors. So this is, first it was ginger, and now this is the chocolate. And I'm going around his hat there, which is what that is on his, I haven't colored it yet, so it's hard to know what that is, but that's a hat. And the other blank space is a scarf. So of course it's a scarf. Because we all know that our little woodland creatures wear scarves, right? They do at Christmas time. I am really enjoying this cup of coffee that I'm having. I apologize if I'm swallowing loudly. I finally was able to get out to the grocery store yesterday or last night, my typical 2 a.m. Walmart run, and I'm afraid I went a little bit nuts. I spent $50 at the grocery store, which is more than I've spent in one go in a long, long time. But I was out of toilet paper and paper towels and peanut butter and you name it, I was out of it. So I'm afraid I indulged and I bought myself a treat in the form of a quart of eggnog. And so I have put some eggnog in my morning coffee instead of my typical milk, and it's very good. So I'm really enjoying it. Okay, now I'm just adding some more layering or some deepening of the colors. Now these are true watercolor pens. So it is literally watercolor in a pen, and you can control the depth of color by how many layers you put on. And they are absolutely blendable, but I like to go for a little bit of subtlety, and they do furnish you a water brush right in the kit, so I know that you are supposed to be able to use them with water as well. Whether or not you put them on plastic. Now, here I didn't put them on plastic at all. I'm actually using them directly on the paper, and I do have this video sped up to 2 times. This video otherwise would have run an hour, which I thought was a bit excessive for one card. So I think it's going to run about 38 minutes total, so that's better. Now I'm adding some pink to his nose, and I'm going to let that fade in because their little noses don't have quite as much hair on them, or their little snouts. And so I'm leaving room for his nose, his black nose, which is why that's not done. And I think I'm about to do his eyes. No, not yet. Okay. Now I'm adding walnut. This, I believe, is walnut that I'm adding as the next shade down. I have to say I really like the way that this card turned out, because it's going to have some greenery and stuff like that on it that you haven't seen yet. But this is, and I say this absolutely, anybody can do this. You really don't have to have a special talent to do this. You just have to have a really good tutorial. And I can say that, well, that was kind of a video edit. Oh no, and now I've gone off screen. Wait, while I'm doing is I'm adding some dark around the edges of this hat. Now that is blush red that I used, and this is the actual red of the set, and it is a really vibrant color. It is really a vibrant red. It is gorgeous. Now see, I've gotten myself in trouble here because I've got that fold and I didn't leave a space for it when I went over it with the red pen. So hopefully I'll be able to convey the fact that that's a folded hat. Oh, look, there it is. Right there. See that dark color that went in on the fold? And that's why I put that blush red down, because if you do the dark first and then the lighter shade over it, it blends right in. It doesn't look like it will when it's wet, but by the time it dries, it's all completely blended. And I really like that. So that is true of any kind of watercolor, and I love it. I love the way that this little guy turns out. I really do. Oh, now I'm looking for, what have I got? I've got a gray. Okay, so this is Payne's Gray. And now you're going to see me remember that there is an ice color in this set. That's what I've got right now. So that is the ice blue. And I'm using it to shade in my white so that you can see that it's white. But of course, you always shade ice with blue, or white with blue, or purple, or pink, or whatever, color it is that you're trying to reflect. So it's the shadows. And then I'm just using that super fine tip brush to wet the edges so that it'll bleed in just a little bit and look like a natural shadow. Okay, now I've got, I think, okay, that is also the Payne's Gray. Always I'm shading and shadowing with my Payne's Gray, which is, I think, just the most valuable color in the watercolor box, because it is such a great way. It just disappears into a background. You never see it, and yet it provides the perfect outline or shadow effect for your edges. And so I just think that that is very, very cool. All right, now what have I got? Oh, now I'm going for the blush red again, and I'm just adding in the edges of some stripes so that they also look like they're a little shadowed by his hair. And then I'm just, now see how when you go and you've got a stripe like that that changes direction, try and offset it from the one on the other sleeve of the scarf. And that way it adds to the two-dimensionality so that it doesn't, or three-dimensionality, so that it doesn't look like it's just one straight, stripe going across two layers. So there's the red. And now I think I have the green. This is the pine green. And I'm just adding a couple of green stripes in, filling it in so that it's more of a Christmas colors. I just think this guy, I think he turns out adorable. So that could just be me, though. Gotta add the fringe. Always it needs fringe. Okay, now what are we gonna do next? I honestly don't remember. Oh, okay. So now I'm gonna do the hat and do the little shading of the pom-pom there. And I apologize if the sound quality on this one is not quite as, I mean, it sounds like it's pretty soft. All right, now this actually turns out to be a mistake that I am about to make, because by trying to darken this up, I have made this wet. And the next thing I am going to put on is a dark black. And so you know what is going to happen, right? Fortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to happen just yet, so. But don't worry, because I fix it. I'm actually able to fix it. But all right, so now I'm just adding a little extra depth of color to his little footsies. He's just looking so cute. You know me, I just get delighted by these things, mostly because I don't actually believe. I mean, I draw coloring books for a living, but I don't draw. I usually don't draw creatures or things like that for them. My mind just doesn't turn to that. My imagination. I think symmetrically. What can I tell you? All right, so now I'm going to do his little eyes. And his little eyes turn out so good. And I'm just so thrilled with them. And his little nose turns out really good too. It just looks a little bulbous. But we'll get there. Yeah, see, there we go. Now, that black is almost going to immediately start to bleed in. And you can see I'm starting to, in just a second, I'm going to start to panic about it. Wait, oh no, now I've got a water brush. Now I'm making it worse. Okay, grab a dry brush. Grab a dry brush, Christine. Quick, grab a dry brush. And that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm grabbing a dry brush, and every bit of it that bleeds, I'm catching as it comes up. So he ends up, it like I say, it doesn't turn out bad. It's just that I know that it's not quite what I envisioned. But his little nose could be, in fact, shadowing his little, there's his little claws, so now he's complete. He needs a little pink in his ears, but I'll get there, don't worry. Oh, now this was another bad cut. I had forgotten to turn the camera on, I remember. I'm like, oh, geez, the camera's not on. So this is a little pine tree that I am adding here in the background, a little hedgehog-sized pine tree, and just a twig sticking up out of the ground. And I'm going to add a whole bunch more greenery and leafiness and all of that. I think I got the berries on this one too big, but that's okay, because you know what? It's art, and there are no mistakes in art. There's just art. And I had fun with it, and it ended up looking good. So those are the things that count when you're making art. So I used a pale green and put a layer of leaves, and now this is the darker pine green, and I'm putting another layer of needles just to give it a little visual interest. And I love that pine needles like this are so easy to make. These, I mean, these boughs are very, very easy. Once again, anybody can do them. I'd love to encourage all of you to, get your ballpoint pens out if that's what you've got. If you've got watercolor pens, that's great. Whatever kind of pens you have, gel pens, just play. Get creative with them, and, and see what you can come up with. Now, I'm adding a few little branches. I'm going to put some of these red berries in. just going right over the greens. You know, there's no need to not go over them. They're not quite dry, but that doesn't really matter. See, I think I got them just a little bit too big for this, I mean, scale-wise, for the size of this particular little branch, but that's okay. That is absolutely okay. We are our own worst critics, and you might look at it and go, oh, those are so cool. And I look at it and go, well, they're a little out of scale. Oh, my little hedgie is looking so good. Anyway, I hope that you are enjoying this video. I hope that that you will try some of these on your own. Of course, you know, we're kind of at a point in the year where hopefully our Christmas cards are out, but I don't know. I usually get my Christmas card from my family in January, so I know that they're not overly concerned about whether or not they get a Christmas card on time. I don't think any of us are. We're just delighted to hear from people that we love, even if it is only once a year. There we go, adding a few more. Oh, jeez, I should have just stopped there, right? No, I gotta add some more. I gotta add some more. Oh, there we go. So now I'm gonna add another one. And because you always have to add things in threes, you never want to add just two. And of course I'm going upside down, so that's a little weird. That one's poking out of his head. Don't worry, we're gonna add lots more greenery on this one. It'll be all filled up by the time that I get done. I just don't know it yet. Like I say, plus making these little pine boughs just sort of thrills me. Because it's like, you know, there's just a blank space there. And then suddenly there's something. And it looks like a tree. You know? It looks like a little tree. Art is thrilling that way. It really is. And okay, I'll just shut up and and go for the dark green now. No, I can't shut up. But still, I wish I'd have gotten this one a little bit, you know, the filming of this one a little more into the center. But by this time, I'm conscious of the fact that my hair keeps getting in the shot. So I'm trying to stay as far back as I can, which means I'm reaching out with my hands. Okay, that's a little better. Now, if I'd have gone for another pine branch, I think it'd have been okay. Okay, let's see what am I gonna do here? Oh, okay, adding berries. Okay, adding some more berries. And then I do add some leaf greenery as well. Some actual leaves. Oh no, my coffee is almost gone. Anybody ever looked at the calorie count on eggnog? Oh my goodness. Definitely not something you want to drink every day. Yeah, but it's okay for a cup of coffee. And I might even have a little glass of eggnog. I usually can make a quart of eggnog last all the way through Christmas. Or, not, nah, that's not really true. I make it last until it's gone and then I buy another one. But I only buy them at Christmas, even though they do sell eggnog all year round. Did you know that? You can actually buy eggnog all year round. Oh, there we go. Let's add some tempting green leaves. I don't know what hedgehogs eat. Do they eat greenery? Anyway. Just throwing in some leaves. Whoops. And oh, now I'm going to add them on the other side. I apologize that I am off screen. Shame on me. You'd think that I would know better by this time. I need to be watching that. Oh. I'm just doing the bottom leaves. I'm going to push it up so that you can see it here in a second. And there's a small one. Okay. So the smaller the space, the smaller the leaves. At this point in time, I'm trying to keep them off the berries, but yeah, okay. So there you go. All right, now what do we need? And let's see if I can do it on, push it up and do it on, yeah, okay. I'm going to do an underneath or a shadowing of the ground underneath him. I do remember doing that. And so you can see when you put the water down, you end up with this really, really subtle shade. And then as the water dries up, you can add a little bit more, soaks in. You can add a little bit more color. Now this is the Payne's Gray that I've got in my hand. So I'm really just adding just a little contour to the ground, making it look like he's actually standing on something like the ground and not just, out in the air kind of thing. He's so cute. Thank you, Ellen Crimi-Trent, for your lessons. You have made my Christmas such fun with being able to follow along and make these cards that she creates. Between her and Dee Dee, all of these little creatures have formed. I did a second frog that I loved, and he also went out as a Christmas card, so I don't even have a picture of him to show you. But instead of the, I basically corrected all of the things that I had done wrong in the one that I did on screen for you guys. And I was able to add a little green twig into his mouth with the berries on it, which is what I'd originally envisioned for the one that I did on Sunday. Okay, so I think our little hedgie here is done. And, oh, no, not quite. Okay, so now I'm going to add, this is, I believe it is the black, no, this is not the black. This is the, I want to call it ash black. It's basically the charcoal. So if you get the 96 set, it's the one immediately in, right next to the black. Black is the darkest color. Oh, okay, so now I'm going to use a little calligraphy ink, because one of the things that I noticed is that on a hedgehog, the very tips of the hairs are white. And so I wanted to convey that a little bit. Now, because of the nature of calligraphy ink and the nature of watercolor, they're both water, the white does sort of settle in a little bit and it turns more gray, but that's okay. So instead of white, it's a little bit gray, but the bottom line is it adds just a little bit more of a feature to my little hedgehog. And that is, just a little white tips on the edge of some of his little hairs. And it doesn't matter if they're gray, they read as gray. When you look at the overall, they read as white. And so that's what I wanted. a little more texture and contour and all of that kind of good stuff. All right, now this is a card. It's just a piece of cardstock. I cut off the extra slice. Everything is designed to fit 8.5 by 11-inch paper. So I just cut off an extra slice and folded it over. And this is just a glue stick from the dollar store. I love these glue sticks. You can get a package of, I think, 3 or 4 of them for $1. There's not very much in each one, but it's more than plenty. And I like that because I have had glue sticks, dry out on me several times. So I like the fact that, they're not so full that and there it is, the cute little card. Now envelopes are equally as easy to make. I have a little template. What I did is I took a card the same size that had an envelope that size, and I simply undid it and used it as a template to cut as many envelopes as I wanted. Hi everybody, and so it occurs to me that I should show you how to make an envelope. All right, the first thing I did is, like I said, I took an old envelope apart and I unfolded it and laid it out on just a regular piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. And then I cut out all the places on it that were cut out on the original, and so I made myself a permanent template and out of just a piece of cardstock. So this is Astro Bright. What I did is I bought the brand called Astro Bright cardstock, and it comes in a bunch of different colors. There's yellow, there's red, green, pink, and there's another color as well. There's 5 colors in it. At any rate, so this is, I bought the cardstock and the regular printer paper. So, and they match because it's both Astro Bright, so they always match. So this is just a regular sheet of the paper. I'm going to move this, and then, see, I turn it like this because that way I have less tiny spaces over here, because then I just take a regular pencil and just draw the outline. Now, if I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of envelopes, I throw them into the big paper cutter to get that big one. But since this is just a one of, okay, so now I've got my outline on there and I know where to cut. Then I just take a regular pair of scissors. And cut along the outline, and if it's not quite perfect, I mean, if you get off just by a little bit, I mean, you need to sort of stay on the lines, and they are a little bit difficult to see in this particular light. Normally I would bring it a lot closer to me. And if the big scissors are too much, then use a smaller pair. But just make sure that, your mother used to say to you, don't use my good fabric scissors to cut paper with. That's true. So make sure that you have a dedicated pair of paper scissors and that you're not using your good fabric scissors, because cutting paper with scissors actually will dull the sharpen a little bit. Okay, so now this edge actually gets folded up, and you just fold it right up And actually what I do sometimes is, I think it's easier, I'm going to put this envelope in a red, I'm going to put this card in a red envelope, even though it's not red paper, red cardstock. So I put it like that, and then you fold this one over, and you can see where, because you've got this little cutout right here, and this one over. So just like that. Now you're going to take your glue stick, and you want to do just this edge down here. Just do the bottom edge and then a very, very tiny bit up this side. And the reason is because once you put it over there, you see there's not much room between the edge and this. And if you glue it all the way up, you're going to end up gluing your card. So you don't want to do that. Okay, and then do the same thing on this side. So you can glue, and I keep it fairly narrow on the edge and then just a little bit up there. And that folds right over. And then you can fold that one down. And when you get ready to glue this, you're not going to have a huge amount of space. It's only about this wide. So keep that in mind when you're gluing it shut, and use a very light layer, or not layer, but you know, in other words, use the side of your glue stick so that you're creating a narrow glue base, and try and keep it as close to the edge as you can without going over. And that way, when you glue it, it won't again stick to the card. Now this one hasn't been written on yet, so I'm not going to seal the envelope, but as you can see, oops, the card fits inside perfectly. And once that's glued down, write your address and your return address and send it off in the mail, and an envelope is just that easy. So, make a template, make an envelope. There's thousands of videos on YouTube how to do that. All right, that's what I wanted to show you. And so anyway, so I realized when I did the voiceover part of this video, I realized I didn't leave myself room for an exit. So thank you so much for joining me today. I do hope that you enjoyed the tutorial on our little hedgehog. Like I say, he is gone out the door. Otherwise, I'd have him right here. But I'll put this picture in so you can see him. And until we meet again, please color something pretty. I do wish you and your family, you and the people that you love, or just you all by yourself, happy holidays, Merry Christmas. See you soon. Oh yeah, and buy my new book, which, wait for it, is now here in my hot little hands. It is my latest coloring book just in time for the holidays. It is called Dragons, Flowers, and Mandalas. Oh my, and we're going to do a flip through of it shortly, but oh, those are the bonus pages. Those are the small ones. Oh, wait. There we go. We've got big ones, and we've got, oops, hang on, let's get to the good stuff. Those are the mandalas. They're in the back. Oh, look, there's a dragon. Oh, there's all that. Y'all, these are the drawings that are in this book. They're all brand new, and yay, it's finally done, and it's real. And thanks again to Shara Craig, who actually put this particular copy in my hands. Special shout out to some people in the community for their help throughout this year. Without those folks and all of you who do watch my channel, I certainly wouldn't be here. So now I can go. Bye, everybody.